Sneaking Suspicion, another one of my selection on today's New Year's Day, 1991. Okay, some of the things which happened in 1990, some events which happened. The worst to come for Britain when Freak Storms hit go on. Coming up in about 3 or 4 minutes' time, we've got another song from my personal selection. Then we're going to go over to Jane again, who's got some stuff to say, and she'll be playing another one of her songs from her living room.
Abgerundet wird dieses Nachschlagewerk durch viele interessante...
Free radio from England to Europe. This is BRI. Okay, so today it's 1991, the 1st of January, and it's BRI today. Just like to say hello to Joe Vincent and everybody at Jolly Roger Radio. All the best for 1991, and keep up the good work on that station. Hello to 1 or 2 more people here we got to say hello to, and we say hello to Mike Jones from Cheltenham in Gloucester.
Some interesting facts have recently come to hand concerning the flagging and registration of the MV Ross Revenge. Yes, a recent fax message, well in fact is very, very recent, yes, of this month anyway, from the Chief of the Legal Department of the Republic of Panama, confirms the following details relating to the claimed Panamanian registration of the MV Ross Revenge. The first fact we received states that for a long time now, Panama has been taking measures against the owners of the MV Ross Revenge, and in January 1987 cancelled the ship's registration papers. The Panamanian authorities have been informed several times that the vessel has continued to illegally use the Panamanian flag. These Panamanian sources also stress that they recently appealed to the UNCAD Transport Department and the UK Transport Division to take any actions possible, as it seems there is no other way to stop this vessel's activities. That's on the Dutchin. A further fact dated Tuesday 8th of January 1991 states that in February 1984, the Republic of Panama requested the mortgage holder, which is blah 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 somewhere in Zurich, to cease operations from the vessel MV Ross Revenge within 60 working days as requested by the law. No response from Zurich on this. 19th of November 1985, by means of resolution blah blah blah, the Panamanian authorities ordered the deletion of the vessel and, too much mod. Deletion of the vessel, and I've lost my place, yes, and instructed the Panamanian consul in London to do so and proceed with the dismantling of the radio station. Yes, this is where it gets interesting. In the 2 cases that existed at the time, MV Ross Revenge and the communicator. Communicator affected as well. Didn't know that. The consul informed the Panamanian authorities that the Admiralty Marshal of the Royal Court of Justice had advised them not to execute the order because the communicator was in the process of a judicial sale, and that most probably the same situation might exist for the Ross Revenge. Very complicated. Another resolution, 12th of January 87, the Panamanian authorities ordered the cancellation of the registration of the Ross Revenge. So there you are. So that means, basically, that, well, if your ship's not registered, right, and it's on the high seas, then you can, quite legally, under maritime law, board it and take whatever you want, and in fact take the vessel as well. That's the way it is. If it's not registered, it's not protected. The legal representatives did not acknowledge the notification, and the Panamanian authorities proceeded to notify this cancellation by means of public edict. Shall we carry on? Why not? On the 1st of August 1990, the Panamanian authorities asked their consul in London to confirm deletion of this vessel in relation to inquiries made by Mr. and Mrs. A.J. Raymond from Shrewsbury. How are they relevant? Station manager quite puzzled on this one. Yes, we're putting up some exciting new elements in this very long monologue. Mr. and Mrs. A.J. Raymond from Shrewsbury, good afternoon to you. Anything else that's interesting? Well, basically, what we're saying is it wasn't registered when the Dutch incident happened, and so therefore there's not really a case, as far as I can tell, that can be presented against the Dutch, other than maybe that they were a bit heavy-handed with certain members of staff on board at the time. I think they were a bit heavy-handed. That is about it. You know, the Dutch were quite within their rights to board the ship and do whatever they wanted at the time because it wasn't registered in Panama. So to summarise, yes, we're nearly at the end. The MV Ross Revenge did not have a flag at the time of the raid. It was not registered in Panama or anywhere else. It does not have a flag now. In fact, it doesn't even have a radio station now. In fact, I think it's been left empty, was the last thing I heard. So it's not registered now. It's just basically a hulk about 15 miles off the southeast coast of England, I believe, anyway. Does the DTI know this information? Yes. So if you're a DTI officer, which you may well be, one or two of you may be listening, and you want your own ship to sail around the world, we know where it is.
Right, about time for me to disappear. Apologies for this slightly reduced broadcast from BRI. This is due to transmitter site problems. However, we shall be back to normal by next month. Producing a monthly transcript of all the news featured in our radio file program. If you would like a copy of this transcript, just send a stamp-addressed envelope and a 15-pence stamp to BRI's radio file transcript, 32 Victoria Road, Salisbury, Wiltshire, SP1 3NG in England. To our address on the continent, the PO Box 190743501. Utrecht in the Netherlands. People living outside the UK, you can just send one IRC. Address one more time to get the BRI's radio file transcript is 32 Victoria Road, Salisbury, Wiltshire, SP1 3NG in England, or PO Box 190743501. DB, Utrecht in the Netherlands. The BRI's radio file transcript, available to you every month. Well, I said time for me to definitely disappear. Yes, the radio file transcript is back. Apologies for the problems during the last few months. However, this has been due to personal commitments. Hopefully starting, I think, with the December issue, radio file transcript available in all good free radio stations now. I'm Steve West. I shall be back end of February with another radio file. Incidentally, if you are writing into BRI, if you have got any free radio news, no matter how little, it all helps, please drop it in. We have a date line of the 14th of February. So if you can get all your news into us at BRI by the 14th of February, for inclusion in the February radio file programme. This is Steve West signing off. I'm handing you over to Roger. Cheerio all. Okay, thanks Steve West. Nice to have you back on the air and a very informative programme on Britain Radio International today. Okay, just in a moment, it's yours truly, Roger Davis, through till about 1 o'clock with some listeners' letters coming out. Every second and 4 Sundays in Britain Radio International. Schedules on Britain Radio International today. Managed to pick up Radio 48 on 6200 kHz. Apparently there was a change of frequency at the for the split decision time, and in fact they were only on that frequency for about 5 minutes, about 9:30 in the morning. 6 6229, we heard Jolly Roger Radio, closing down about 10 a.m. that morning as something concerning Jolly Roger Radio. Hopefully, over the next week or so, an improved signal should be noted from the Jolly Roger Radio. So look out in the next few days, and hopefully, if not already happened, Jolly Roger Radio's signal will be improved, and hopefully reception will be a bit better in certain parts of the UK. So hopefully we'll monitor that one with interest. 6275, we heard Atlanta Radio with a good signal. 6285, we heard the Pirate Freaks Broadcasting Service. Nice to know they're back on the air again for Christmas, probably, with a fair to good signal. 6290 kilohertz was Radio Rhine with a fair signal. 6300, we heard Steve Most and friends with Radio Pamela coming in with a fair to good signal. And I understand that rig's only putting out between 10 and 12 watts, so well done, Steve Most, for putting out a good signal there with that little rig. 6310, we heard Radio 48 on a second frequency, and that particular frequency was giving us a fair to good signal. And 6315, we heard WFRL with a fair constant signal also on that day, putting out some very interesting news concerning Caroline. Yes, right. Going back to Radio 48, which we were listening to, we've got a short recording now of their final 2 minutes with Mark Stafford and also Magnus doing their last little bit. So let's sit back and listen to this slightly little sad recording of Radio 48 last Sunday on their closed-down announcements.
Radio 48, the final broadcast with the music of the Pretenders, the middle of the road. Mailing address for the final time is as follows: Radio 48, South Beechwood, Edinburgh, Scotland, EH12 5YR. And that will be open after Christmas and into the new year. It is Christmas not far away, but no Christmas cheer in this studio today. Mark Stafford and Howard now on the final few minutes of Radio 48, and Howard now has a big list of people he would like to say thank you to.
Well, it's with a heavy heart that I have to seal out this address. And this was the last time you'll hear these names from my lips and anybody else's lips on this station. So here we go. Ian Scott, Dave Scott, Freddie Archer, Dave Kane, Roger Davis, Phil Abbott, Jay Burkett, Austin Holland, Chris Evans from Polo Engineering, which helped an awful lot in the early days. Larry Stevens of EMR also helped with technical advice in the early days. Mail drop people, Steve West from Victoria Road, Salisbury. The people at P.O. Box 5 Hunstanton. And latest address people, 23 South Beechwood in Scotland, Edinburgh, Scotland. Richard Evans for use of audio processing equipment for the first few Radio 48 broadcasts. I'm getting very emotional now, people.
Hold it together. Keep with it. Be a professional at times like this.
And of course, the last name is my good friend Mark Stafford, who's helped stations out over the last 2 years and helped it to come to this final point. And that's really all. If I've lost anybody, forgotten anybody there, thank you very much. I'm very sorry if I've forgotten you there.
Well, at times like this, there's not a lot you can say. We're going to play a couple of records, and then sadly that is the end of Radio 48. Now a couple of old rock and rollers. Let's have some rock and roll from the 70s. You like this one with Howard, when you That is the penultimate record on Radio 48. Crosby, Stills, Nash and Young, I think it is. And OIO from 1970. Those are the days I used to listen to Radio North Sea International. I was in Anorak, and I thought maybe one day I was really lucky I might just be on the radio, and in a small way I have been on the radio recently. And I'd like to thank people like Howard and other people who let me on the radio, but particularly as we are talking about Radio 48, I'd like to thank Howard for inviting me along a couple of years back, and I've enjoyed my time on Radio 48. Often I've been at the end of sitting on the receiver in the warm of my house listening to it while Howard has been out in the pouring rain and the snow. I've enjoyed that, and we had them. But anyway, I'd like to say thanks to him, and thank you to all the Radio 48 listeners who've written us nice things about us. Anybody who's written nice things about the station. Sadly, this is the start of the end of an era, if you know what I mean, because there are more short closures to come. Stay tuned over the next couple of weeks for those. For me, Mark Stafford, thank you for listening, and I'll hand you over to Howard for the final words from Radio 48.
Well, this is not a very good time, really. It's very sad. I'm quite show because I don't really know what to say. Really help me here, Mark.
Lots of words.
I'll just say that Merry Christmas to everybody anyway. We've got to Christmas, I think, haven't we?
I think we've forgotten Christmas in amongst the feeling we've got at the moment. So from Radio 48, I think it is goodbye, and one final goodbye from Howard.
Goodbye, everybody, and thanks for all the support, and I've really enjoyed doing it 9 years.
Radio 48 is now closing down.
Right.
Okay, there we go. That's the recording of Radio 48's close down with Magnus, of course, Mark Stafford. A bit of a sad event there, and we wish the station operators all the best for whatever they do in the future. That was last Sunday. Short recording at BRI. As we said, a very good signal coming in here at BRI's location, and I do believe in most of the UK and the continent. Some stations we know that will be closing by the end of the year, and some of these have already closed. That's Atlanta's Shortwave, which closed down about 2 or 3 weeks. Freesound Radio International will possibly be going out the air next week, which is the 30th of December. WFRL is liable to continue, we think, not closing down as possibly first thought. Another station which I believe is WBMX has also closed down, but this is not due to be broadcasting yet. Atlanta Radio will be closing either today or perhaps by the end of the year, whatever happens. And also, we're not sure of Radio East Coast Commercial. We have had a couple of reports that Radio East Coast Commercial, something the last heard this yet, so I can't confirm whether this is true. But anyway, apparently, these reports, a bit of a sad time for some of the radio stations, all the people behind the stations who are closing in the future. We plough through to the 19th. Back to the music now. After this, we got the Offshore Diary. Great song, one of my favourites in the chart. This is The Farm and All Together Now. Medium wave, and later became the most successful of all the offshore radio stations. Well, there we go. Look at the Offshore Diary for December. On next month's show, on the 4th Sunday, we shall be looking into January. Right, back to the music now, and another sort of Christmassy record. And this is a song from Christopher called The Spaceman Come Travelling. So I was listening to your program schedules from about 10 o'clock onwards, and the SINPO was 43445, and we may be doing it, we may be not. But anyway, whatever way we do it, the listeners' all-time top 40 will be going out in the very near future. That's about all we can tell you, I'm afraid. So, right, now it's time for a little bit of comedy. A little bit late, everything's running late here because we've got a few things to fit in. And we're going to go back in time now to the middle 70s. There was we have a bit of a Christmas flavour to our Christmas comedy on the show today. And that record does, in fact, go on forever and ever. The record, and it's just stuck there. Shall we leave it running for the rest of the programme? No, perhaps not a good idea. Cast your mind. Okay, the chart from 1981 has been slightly neglected on this show today, the 23rd of December, but never mind. Right, we got to number 12. We had Crow, Rock and Roll. 1981 there, this very day. In 1981, that's Don't You Want Me, Human League, another oldies chart. Next month on the show, on the 4th month, and we appreciate your looking into BRI's sort of interest and sending info and writing letters. A couple of more records to go. We're going to dedicate this, our own little Christmassy record. Here's Paul McCartney. If not, possibly, depending on the availability of this frequency today. We'd like to apologise for not appearing on Sunday the 26th of December with our 4th Sunday. But this was due to our aerial system being back. We apologise for that. The programmes you're hearing today were the programmes on Sunday, and we've decided to put those out today rather than sort of announcements being a little bit out of date now. But we'll now continue with the programme schedule today. On Britain International today. We'd like to thank all our listeners for their support during the past 12 months and look forward to your continued support in 1991. This is Roger Davis. New Year.
The crew were confined to the bridge. They only had a small Honda generator to run one heater and a few lights. It also appears that windows on board the ship were smashed during recent storms. And following some damage to the Honda generator, the 3 crew members who were on board apparently were made ill due to contaminated water supplies. That was Rico, Chris, Klein, Martin and Chris Adams. On the 10th of December, they contacted the Coast Guard after they were unable to start any of the main generators. And the Coast Guard advised them to leave the ship. However, they remained on board, refusing to leave until the diesel ran out at approximately 9 p.m. Once on shore, the police questioned all members, but let them free without any further measures. It is also reported the Ramsgate lifeboat refused to go, saying that the ship was not an emergency. Both the DTI and Trinity House checked the ship on the 11th of December. DTI did not board, however Trinity House boarded it and reported the vessel was in a mess. It also seems that the Caroline organisation have arranged an amnesty with the DTI for taking supplies out to the ship to get it back and up together again. In the meantime, Richard Butler is going ahead with a test case in the name of Dave Richards against the DTI. The main reason for this is because the Caroline legal fund is starting to get a bit low. And Caroline management have not taken any decisions regarding the future of the station. Last week, however, a meeting of the Caroline owners on the 14th of December, that's Friday the 14th of December, decided that Caroline would not broadcast from the Revenge again. However, for the moment, the ship would remain where it was, with the 3 crew members. Now, one source informed us that an organisation are considering broadcasting Radio Caroline from satellite. And this ties in a bit with other news, which states that Radio Nova at present have a spare satellite transponder on the Astra Lifestyle channel. And it is rumoured that they'll be starting a satellite Radio Caroline service. Radio Nova. For this is because the Nova sales director is Vincent, who, coincidence, was the sales director for Radio Caroline when the station returned back in 1983. It also appears that the spare transponder of Nova is currently used to broadcast religious programs similar to the Viewpoint programs. The news from the Caroline organisation at the moment. I will say that is news from one of the sources that we have. Any further details or corrections we'll bring you in future radiophile programs. The offshore. A Belgian who apparently were involved in the communicator project are now looking at the MV Manel. The anchored in Portsmouth Harbour awaiting scrapping. Miscue, but never mind. And continuing with radiophile and legal news. And a bit thin on the ground this month. Radio Vatican have legally moved from 6248 kHz down to 1640. Caroline now have a registered company, Radio Caroline UK Limited, on the Holloway Road in North London. The Caroline organisation are having talks with the DTI about bringing the ship into, it said international waters, however we do believe in sea waters to get it into ship shape. Special event licence for their 20th birthday in April next year. Revenge will be used as a studio base for the new radio satellite service, should it take off. And possibly, if, as has been rumoured, and I must emphasise this is a rumour, Radio Caroline applies for a Kent or Essex area licence. Recently, BBC Radio Kent featured a programme on the Caroline on Sunday the 16th of December in the afternoon. Dave. Also a phone-in from listeners describing their memories. Yeah, getting away from Mike Oldfield. London Report.
Time round. But lots of little stories to tell you. At the end of November, I was personally tipped off by a friend who has a friend inside the Department of Trade and Industry, and I was told that the DTI were going to go raiding mad throughout the month of December. I asked the question, was it London or nationwide? The answer came nationwide. So therefore, if you're listening to your local FM pirate radio station and wonder why they haven't been there, or they have been there and kept going off, it's because the Department of Trade and Industry keep raiding them. Now here in London, we've gone from a state of about 45 to 50 radio stations on the air every day, or at their peak weekend, to around 1 or 2 being on a week. Things have got that bad. The biggest shock came to me the other week when I tuned up the band to find only one station on and one station only. Now the main ones are the one jump ahead of the DTI by putting another rig up and replacing the one that's just been taken off. Soca Radio, who are operating on hours these days on 101 points. Switching off and then switching on and such like. Also Fantasy Radio, who operate on 98 dead on the dial. They are rated very, very often. Methinks to the new BBC FM relay that's on there, or should I say BBC Radio 1 that's on there. I can't even say it now, sophisticated London radio 99.6 also managed to keep one jump ahead of the Department of Trains Industry by managing to return to the air within 12 hours of being raided. Soca radio station I just mentioned, in fact, were raided 3 times in 3 days, and a total of about 5 times in a week, I think it was. Now, reaction from inside the industry, as it were, the other operators, is that the DTI have absolutely gone stark, raving, bloody mad, raiding everything that seems to come on the air. In fact, hobby stations as well are getting raided. And my one and only boo-hoo Classic Rock 101, which operates on a Wednesday night on 101.7 FM, got hit 2 weeks ago for the first time. Terry Phillips knew it was going to happen because the mod dipped 5 minutes before it all went on. Seems to be their signal to the bloke down in the van to get ready, because we've got it and we're coming down, boys. Classic Rock 101's first raid on FM. Took the lot, smashed the aerials up, left us a coax and a connecting plug, and we were back on the following week, so there you go. Now, RFL, Radio Free London, who had been absent from London's FM airwaves for around 3 months. 3 weeks ago, first time in 3 months, right? They were raided within 25 minutes of the transmitter coming on the air. Now, Kenny Myers and co, not being that undetermined by DTI activity, returned to the air the following Saturday night with a couple of hours of Doors music to commemorate Jim Morrison's birthday. And on the Sunday evening, they came on the air at 8 o'clock as usual and closed down at 11 o'clock as usual. But their cassette machine auto-reversed when it shouldn't. And 15 minutes of programming went out until 11:15 when the transmitter went off. We later found out that it was in fact the DTI who were up on the roof in the tower block messing around with the equipment to try and lure the station staff back up there so they can say those immortal words, "You're nicked." Alas, it didn't work. So RFL have lost at least one stereo transmitter after 2 raids of the 2 weeks they've been back on the air, so work that one out. Also, news from Radio Free London. One of the biggest pirates friendships of all time, I think, must be and Nigel Grant. After around a 15-year friendship, they have had one hell of a bust-up, which has resulted in Nigel Grant not being on RFL anymore. Pete Russell, who originally was in Kenny Myers' bad books, is now back in his good books and is back doing the driving again. And Nigel Grant's ex-girlfriend, who he dumped, has replaced him on Radio Free London. That Jodie is the person who goes on the tower block roofs and installs the equipment. Can you believe that? Does anyone out there know of any other women in this country that go installing Band 2 FM equipment late at night on tower blocks? Let me know, I'm intrigued. Anyway, that's just about it for now. Britain Radio International Radio News. This has been Andy Walker. Hand you back to Steve West. Happy Christmas, Steve. Happy Christmas, Andy. I'll never get over that, man. Andy Walker. Woody, how are you getting on with your Christmas?
Only 2 days to go. Andy Walker's mentioned about the DTI. It's also been reported that the DTI will be out during Christmas. Well, this means actual Christmas Day itself. The London area is Twilight Radio. Are reported to be planning a broadcast during Christmas or New Year on 91.7 megahertz with 1 kilowatt. Reports are that a 950 watt FM transmitter, nicknamed the Big One, has been built. And will be put on air for this special broadcast, although how long it will last, we don't know.
Radio International.
And finally, on the medium wave FM news, a couple of news stations noted in the south of England. We've had reports of 2 stations operating from the Portsmouth area. Elizabeth. As usual, if I can ask any of our listeners out there, if you do have information on local free radio stations, shortwave news, any sort of free radio news, drop us a line. Print Radio International, 32 Victoria Road, Salisbury, SP1 3NG in Wiltshire. Or our Utrecht address, PO Box 19074, 3501 DB, Utrecht in the Netherlands. Anyway, continuing with shortwave free radio news. Radio Titanic Germany made their 15th anniversary broadcast on the 14th of October. 48. Closed down on Sunday the 17th of December, using 6221 and 6309 kilohertz between 0930 and 1100 hours UTC. The station featured Mark Stafford with the operator, and also history of the station and their top 10 rock tracks. The 48 transmitter was co-sighted with the Atlanta radio crew, who came on afterwards on the different frequencies 6210 and 6275 kilohertz. It appears that Atlanta were making their final broadcast on Sunday the 30th of December. Radio Atlantis closed on Sunday the 9th of December 1990. The broadcast closed down at 12:40 hours UTC on 6205 kilohertz. The station having been broadcasting since 1978. I mentioned earlier on about a large transmitter on FM. Well, there's one built here apparently on shortwave as well. It is rumoured that live wire radio will be used as a 500 watt transmitter of 28 metres on Christmas Eve. Certainly LWR have got a Christmas Day broadcast planned. News on that station. WNKR Radio. WFRL also appeared via WNKR on the 16th of December with a Caroline special program between 11 and 100 hours UTC, and featuring Andy Walker, Keith Archer and Ian Johnston. The same day also saw Radio Pamela on 6299 kilohertz with a 3-hour program featuring Pirate Andy, PFBS, Steve Most and DJ Rob. The report the station will be on over Christmas on 6299 and also on medium wave on 1609 kilohertz with a new crystal they've now purchased. DJ Rob's station Radio Tina apparently should have better signal soon due to a slight move, and the possibility of medium wave transmissions will follow numerous problems the station has had with an indoor antenna. And going back a few weeks, 9th of December saw Radio Orion on 6290 kHz suffering air
BRI, field of 19074, 501 CB. BRI, 19074, 3501 CB, Utrecht in the Netherlands.
Free radio to Europe from England on Shortwave. That's Britain Radio International.
Good afternoon, the time's coming up to 12:45 and you're listening today on Britain Radio International 6230 kHz. We're going to be with you until 1:30 playing the UK Shot Climbers past and present. You're listening today. Oh, thank you.
And that's my Christmas present to you.
Oh, well, Roger is so generous, he's going to share my Christmas present with all the BRI listeners. Is that right?
That's right. A bit of a shindig, I would say.
What a generous Roger Davis, I must say. Anyway, enough of Roger and his Christmas present, he can keep it. Today on Britain Radio International Shot Climbers, and right now we've got the number 20 sound coming in, the status quo and the anniversary waltz part 2.
Down at the Caroline Movement Southampton branch. Once again, all the very best to BRI. Keep up the good work on Shortwave. And remember, keep fighting for free radio. Radio free from government interference. Radio free from government control. And bye for now. Bye.
David Williams, who is from the Caroline Movement, Southampton branch. Thank you.